Hi everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. Don't mind my hair, it's messed up. Just want to make a little video. Don't mind that I get these every now and then. It has nothing to do, it's my skin. My mother had the same problem. So, let me go brush my hair a little bit. It's gonna get dark for a second. So, you see, I do brush my hair. Just haven't had. And you don't need to go anywhere. Sometimes it's good not to brush your hair. Looks like I gotta wash it again. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good day. It's raining where I'm at right now. There. Better? Okay, sorry, got it dark there for a second. Meanwhile, here we are. I'll show you what the weather's like. Hang on, let me turn the phone around. Wee bit foggy. Anyway. It's raining. It's not really cold, but this is what this state calls it. Chill. I think it's like about 60 something degrees today. Anyway, I thought I'd show you what it looked like outside. Excuse me. Oh, in addition to our furniture, as my grandparents, that marriage lasted, well, she never divorced him, but they were separated for a while, and then he died from drinking too much. That's my other grandma, my mother. I'm behind the picture. And this is some family members. She's my grandfather's side. One by this lady here, that's my grandfather. This is my great-grandfather. Anyway, that's basically the family pictures right now, except for the one that's over here, which is my granddaughter and mommy and daddy. And my granddaughter. With my son and my daughter-in-law. Sorry, Nicole. You're in the picture, so, it's not good. I blocked you out, but, I try not to do things to upset her. Because she's upset. She thinks that when I share videos, that's why I haven't shared videos of Ava lately. She asked me not to, so no problem. Anyway, basically what I have in here, my jewelry. I towed that all away to and from. More's in there. Not much, showing my Irish pride. People just walked by. And my raven, poor thing, got broke. And my crystal ball, showing my gypsy side, I guess. And, I also got other pictures. And, I've had this for like 40 years. Seems like, let's see, I was still living with my parents when I got that. My dad brought it back from Saudi Arabia when he was out there. He was teaching their military basic mechanical stuff on military vehicles, because they had some of our old military vehicles, I guess. I don't quite remember what it was all about, but hey, well, I guess you guys have heard about what ICE did in Minnesota. Sad thing. It doesn't matter if she was protesting or not. We're allowed to protest, by the way. It's just, if you go to protest something, do it, peacefully. Don't, disrupt. Don't do what they did when Trump lost the election, last administration. That lady, there's things going around. She abused her kids and stuff like that. If she did, she'll, God's dealing with it. If she didn't, shame on anybody who brought that up. That had nothing to do with her getting killed. What had to do with her getting killed was the fact that she was in their way. And supposedly, she hit one of the officers. Mind you, they're nothing but a bunch of men that act like Gestapo. And if you're too young to know that, let me tell you, they were bad. They did exactly the same thing ICE is doing right now, and I'll tell you why. Because they think Latino people, even when they come over to the border, yeah, I understand that that's illegal. Believe me, I understand all that. But most of our ancestors came here. They had to go through Ellis Island, but a lot of them didn't. Prior to Ellis Island and the other one has Garden in the name of it. I can't remember quite. There's a website you can check that if your family came over prior to Ellis Island open up. Okay. My stance is, yeah, they did something wrong. They didn't go for citizenship. They should have went as close, as much as they could, should have went for citizenship. Okay. These are the ones that I think should be able to stay. They're hardworking. They pay their taxes. They support, even if they don't like the president in office, which I don't. But you have to support him because he's the president, So, stop blaming the Democrats, stop blaming Republicans or any other, it's whatever. It happens, Everybody's going to have a different opinion. I personally don't like Trump, but I'm not going to put down somebody that likes him. To me, I have my own opinion. And I've stressed it out on Threads, if you're a part of Threads and you've seen, people talk about it, but I just, I was brought up to respect the office, the man in the office, and it's kind of hard because all this stuff's going around. I don't know what he did or didn't. I do know that there are pictures rolling around, and they've been proven not to be Photoshopped, by the way, to all those makers that think they were Photoshopped. He was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. He was at a lot of his parties. And I think that if Epstein would have lived, I think he would have pardoned him. Because that's his way of thinking. I mean, his presidency has nothing to do with his private life. But to me, you cheat on one wife, you're cheating on all three. He's cheated on all three of his wives with other females, and they've come out and said so, and y'all believe in him. Okay, fine, believe in him. That's your right. But don't stomp on my rights for not wanting him in office. I think somebody that has more political understanding of how our system works. What was he? First, he was just, he's a rich man's son. He didn't understand about struggling day to day. He never, I don't know why, he never went into the military. He probably paid somebody to do it for him. I don't know. They did have people that did that, by the way. But I just don't understand why all the hate. We are a nation. We should be together. We stand, divided we fall type of situation. But it looks like that, everybody that believes in him and believes that he's a good president, and to me, is not. That's my opinion. I kind of fluctuate back because I hear all this stuff. It doesn't mean that it happened, but 34 women getting groped, that doesn't sound like a lie, because there's 34 of them. I think that alone would have stopped him from being allowed to run, but it didn't. Hail the rich, I guess. If it was a poor man, he wouldn't be able to even run. Just because he didn't have the money to back it up. And then, with them destroying the Rose Garden on the first roundup, and then now he's destroying the White House itself by building a ballroom they don't need. FYI, there is a ballroom that was in there already, and he just made a mess of that site. And they're still working on it. I don't know where the money came from. Could have been taxpayers' money, could have been from out of his own. So I'm not saying that he's using taxpayers' money, because I don't know. But what I do know is that we didn't need it, But yet, in the same breath, he was trying to get, SNAP discontinued. And people need that. Yeah, I know it shouldn't be a lifetime thing, but when your rent is over $1,000 and you only make a little bit over $1,000, where are you going to get the money for utilities? Where are you going to get the money for, your food? That's why SNAP was included for people on SSI and on, Social Security and stuff. But what I'm saying is stop all this arguing and try to get along, because we're supposed to be one nation. And even though it says one nation under God, God didn't create the nation. People that lost their lives and fought for this country, and fought for this country is what gave a country its greatest thing. So just take that in consideration. And if you're not a supporter of Trump, don't put down your family and friends because they are. Speak your mind, and I do. I blatantly don't like the man. Sorry. He talks one thing, wanting to get rid of, illegals. And, there are kids who were born here, calling them anchor babies. He was one too. His mother was from the UK. So that's no different, okay? The people that were here when that Mayflower landed are more American than any of us. My grandparents' parents on one side came, at the turn of the 19th century, when it turned into the 20th. The other side have been here since the 1830s. My husband's family goes way back. In fact, he's, because he's Native American, a lot of it, his family even goes out back further. The Native American part, the Native Americans were here for like 1,000 years prior to Mayflower. So, yeah, they're the originals. And don't think we did. People are saying we conquered them. No, it was more like they were murdered. They were trying to stamp out that whole Native American race. That's why, and they're the ones that helped the settlers settle in when the Mayflower showed up. But, it's neither here nor there. To me, that man in office is a racist. He may not show it, you can tell it. he's more for one set of rules for himself than for others. Okay, two of his wives were from Eastern Europe. Which either one, I have nothing against her. You know, and I know what she used to be, but that was how she survived. It's hard to survive when you live where you live. But it's got to stop. Hate has got to stop. Period. I mean, if you believe in God, whether you're Catholic, Jewish, or any other denomination that happens to believe in God or the Almighty, and I'm a Catholic, so bad one, but I still am. I still do my prayers and stuff. It's still, God doesn't like that. And y'all claiming, Jesus and all that stuff. You mega Christians out there, you think he likes seeing you guys hate on another people or a belief? No, that's not the way Jesus is supposed to, has ever, from what, I've learned when I was growing up. He was for the poor, he was for the sick, he was for the, homeless people. So take that in consideration too. But that's just my stand. Whether you support the man in office or not, support the country itself. Point out when something's wrong. And what the ICE did to that lady, and her name was Renee Good, what they did to that lady was wrong. There was other ways to stop her. If she was any kind of threat, that is. Instead of shooting her 4 times. And you can tell it was done on purpose. Anyway, I'm just a little rant. Whether you're a Trump supporter or not, doesn't matter to me. It is what it is. Anyway, everybody have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Subscribe somewhere down there, or I can't point it out because I can't see it, but, and that bell. I don't always talk politically because I'm not really pushing my political beliefs on people. I'm just explaining mine. Anyway, have a good day. I'll catch you on the flip. Bye.